Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa Siegel and I'm a professor of migration studies, and this is a channel about all things migration. And today we are specifically going to talk about why you shouldn't use the term brain drain. Now, you have probably all heard the term brain drain used over and over again. Maybe you have used it yourself, but today I'm going to talk about why you shouldn't do that. So let's talk about what the term brain drain actually is. Well, really, it's the migration of highly skilled people or highly skilled workers. We can talk about, well, how do you define highly skilled? That is something I think for a completely different video. But in general, highly skilled are generally people who are considered to have tertiary levels of education, often considered doctors, healthcare professionals, teachers, etc., etc. There's not one internationally agreed upon definition of what brain drain is. But it often does have additional connotations with it. It often refers to more than just the migration of the highly skilled. It often actually refers to a very high proportion of highly skilled people moving from one country. It often even refers to a lot of people from one particular sector. So maybe a high number of doctors or nurses or teachers leaving from one country to move to maybe one other country or maybe a number of other countries. And especially when it's discussed in a more negative way, it is often being associated with developing countries. And in that regard, it's actually quite interesting that the term first came out of the United Kingdom. Actually, the term brain drain has its origins in the UK, really around the 1950s and 1960s. The British Royal Society first coined this expression or used this expression to really describe the outflow of scientists and people in technology sectors to the United States and Canada in the 1950s and 60s from the UK. So it's interesting that this term was first actually coined in a developed country context, and now we often see it used very much in a developing country context. So the migration of the highly skilled really often gets a bad rap, particularly if it's someone moving from a developing country. And even worse, perhaps, if that person is moving from a developing country to a developed country. So a term that talks about a drain of any kind already implies something bad or something must be bad, right? I don't think you would ever hear anyone telling you that you're having some kind of a drain and you think that's a positive thing. So the term already comes with a quite negative connotation, which is often not fair and perhaps not true, because it implies that highly skilled migration needs to be bad. And this is definitely not always true and definitely not often true. So as Michael Clemens and others have noted previously, you can see very clearly the direct effects of someone leaving a country and perhaps some of the direct effects that are not considered very positive. So it's very clear when there is an absence of a person. But all of the possible positive effects of that migration are perhaps a bit less tangible, a bit less obvious, a bit less directly clear. But there are actually a multitude of very positive things that can come about from highly skilled migration. There's lots of evidence to show that highly skilled migrants are involved in technology transfer and increases in innovation, both in countries of destination and countries of origin. They help to increase trade networks between countries. They're able to engage in more investments in the countries of origin. Perhaps you've also heard of diaspora investments, diaspora engagement, migrant investments, etc., etc. They're also able to transfer knowledge and know-how and norms from one country to another, which can be very, very beneficial to development. And they're able to create networks between the country of origin and the country of destination. And in some cases, they're even able to transfer norms such as norms around gender or fertility or even democracy between countries. So this can be all extremely, extremely helpful, besides the fact that highly skilled migrants are also generally able to make more money abroad, and they're also able to send back more remittances. So if you're interested to learn more about remittances, I have a video also, or more than one video on that you can check out here, and I'll link in the description below. So some countries, international organizations, and others have considered to limit or to block the migration of highly skilled professionals from developing countries to developed countries. And that's really misguided and wrong for 3 reasons. So the first is that it can really cause significant damage to the migrant themselves. It's extremely unfair. Basically, you are then directly limiting the professional opportunities of an individual just because of the country that they are coming from. So this is really active discrimination, which can add on other levels of discrimination. So for instance, I'm a highly skilled migrant in the Netherlands. I'm originally from the United States, but no one's talking about blocking or stopping my migration. But they are talking about blocking or stopping the migration of a doctor from Malawi. And that's not fair, right? It's not fair that that person then would have limited opportunities because of the country that they are coming from. Now, also in other cases, we even know that there are lots of benefits to that migration, which I talked about just a moment ago. And if that migration is blocked, then all of the positive benefits of that migration cannot happen. So with regard to some of the specific benefits, we also see that the possibility to migrate in the future is even a reason why people might want to gain more education. So that access, that possibility for migration is helping to induce more education in many contexts, which is quite important, and not all of those people end up migrating. The third reason to not block or limit this migration is because we actually have no evidence that shows that blocking people from actually leaving an area leads to increased development. So neither theory nor evidence actually support blocking people from migrating to help development. So these are 3 really important reasons why we should stop talking about limiting or blocking the migration of highly skilled workers, no matter where they come from. What's really important to also recognize is that the migration of highly skilled workers, especially from developing countries and perhaps from specific sectors like healthcare or education, is a symptom of a larger problem. And yes, it can exacerbate the problem in the country, but the migration itself is not the reason for a poor healthcare system. Yes, it can exacerbate it, but is generally a symptom of this. So we need to think about other policies to target the reasons why people might be leaving. So increasing the healthcare sector, making sure that it works better, making sure people get paid more money. This is really what we should be thinking about, not blocking people's choices. So I hope this just gave you a good understanding of why we should not be using the term brain drain, and it will encourage you to hopefully not use it in the future. If you found this video helpful, please do like it, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos that I post every week, and I do hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.